Thank you. Very happy to be back to Atlanta after a year. I played in Nashville two days ago, and yesterday I played in Columbus, Mississippi, and I drove from Mississippi today. What I do is a mixture of original music with some stories behind them, so I hope you're going to have a good time. My name is Hiroya. Some of you know me, some of you might not, so I want to introduce myself. I grew up in a small town outside of Kyoto, Japan. And as you might know about Kyoto, which is one of the most authentic or traditional part of Japan. But I began playing 5-string banjo when I was in middle school which was very unusual. And of course, I was the only kid in town playing banjo at that time. But this is a result. So, first piece was one of my original compositions, which I composed by the shore in coastal Maine. It was called Coastline Remembrance. And since I travel a lot to different places to perform shows, I write many songs in different locations, including this next piece. I wrote this piece in the mountain in Utah several years ago. And I played some shows in Utah, but after finishing all the shows, me and my wife decided to take 2 days off to explore Utah because it's a beautiful place. And we ended up renting a Jeep, but I was too scared to drive a Jeep, so I asked my wife to drive. And we went through lots of steep canyons, which was pretty scary, almost like diving into the sky kind of place. But anyway, we drove about a couple hours through those canyons, and after that we got to this beautiful natural stone bridge with a huge red rocks. And I had my guitar in the Jeep, so I picked up the guitar, started playing the guitar by the natural bridge. And after a while, this little piece came about. So I named this piece as the name of the place, and this is called Gemini Bridge. Thank you. This is a relatively new piece that I wrote in the end of last year entitled How Time Like Water Flows. you. Now I like to sing one Japanese folk song since I'm from Japan. But this one is from southern part of Japan, Okinawa. You know Okinawa, right? And as you know, Okinawa was a part of the United States territory from 19 60s till 70s, about 10 years. But also Okinawa was an even different country before Japan for a long time, a couple of hundred years. And it has a sad story. Basically, Japan took over Okinawa even though they had totally different culture, including traditional folk music and dance. And this is one of the folk songs, very old folk song from the time when Okinawa was a kingdom. And this song talks about the woman when Okinawa was a kingdom. And there was a very strong king. And she was a beautiful woman, so she got an offer from the king to get married. And usually when king says something to people, they were supposed to say yes. But this lady didn't want to get married with him. So what she did was rejecting the proposal she got. But she survived. She became heroine, and this song came about. And I've been singing this song in Okinawan local dialect, which I don't even understand much. But you are welcome to sing along if you want. 里屋の小屋によさゆいゆいアンチュラサリバシよたはりのチンダラカの島さあ目指ししゅぬ学んだよさゆいゆいあたろやねずむたよたはりのチンダラカの島佐渡屋の小屋にはいやいやささアンチュラさひばしたはりのチンダラカの島さあ佐渡屋の小屋にはいやいやささアンチュラさたはりのチンダラカの島 in the southwest part of Colorado, there's a small town called Cortez, which is near Mesa Verde National Park. And it's a small town in the middle of nowhere kind of place, but it's a beautiful place. And I've been there several times in the past in my life. And the first time was 13 years ago, and I played shows in Colorado, but for this trip I decided to take my wife. Back then we were not married, so she was a girlfriend, but we were looking for a place to stay around this town, and we found this place called Flag Meadow Ranch. It's a bed and breakfast owned by this guy. His name was Harris Court. And we stayed there for the first time. And we had a great time, and Harris was just a beautiful human being. And since we had a wonderful time for our first trip, 2 years later, I brought my parents from Japan because they had been to the United States a couple of times, but only big cities. And they had never been to the southwest or midwest part of the United States. So I wanted to show them the big landscape of America. So they flew over from Japan, and we met at the Denver airport. And four of us stayed at this place again. And we had a great time. And that time I talked more with this guy, Harris. And I found out that he was married with a Navajo woman. And he used to live in Navajo reservation for many years. And he said to me, it was a very interesting experience for me to live there because I was only non-Navajo person in the community. And I was looking at America from different views, different angle. But I was still in the United States. After his wife died, he moved out from this reservation, and he started this bed and breakfast. 2 years ago, during the pandemic time, I was talking to my wife, where should we go after this thing is over? And she said, I want to visit Harris again. And we were wondering how he was doing, but we couldn't find any information, no website, no Facebook page. And we kept searching, and we found out that Harris passed away 3 years ago. And this place was sold to another couple. They were supposed to take over, but they didn't do it. So this place is permanently closed. And as I heard the news, I just regret that I didn't reach out to him when he was alive. It was just too late. And last year I was at home, and I was thinking about him and this place in the middle of nowhere in Colorado. And I composed a piece, and this is called Wide Clear Sky. Thank you. A couple years ago, I taught at a music gathering in North Carolina, in western part of North Carolina, near Asheville. It's a beautiful area near Great Smoky Mountains. But anyway, the gathering is called the Suwananoa Gathering because it was in a small town called the Suwananoa, which is about 15 minutes from Asheville. And it's a basically very nice music community. It's a weekly gathering, and I taught 3 classes for the guitar week. And the same week, there was another one called the Contemporary Folk Week, organized by same organization. And between my classes I was teaching, I had some free time. So I ended up taking one of the songwriting classes, which was very inspiring. And in the class, the songwriting teacher assigned students to do some work. And she said to us, I'm gonna give you guys for 15 minutes and try to write a song and come back. Which was pretty challenging, but I went out from the building and I was walking through the woods, looking at the sky, looking at the trees, and I was hoping that something was coming, but nothing came. Although eventually in the last minute, this simple melody with the Japanese poetry came about. And after coming back to the classroom, I shared this little fragment with the teacher and other students. And the same week, there was a morning meditation time at 6:30 a.m. every morning. I began going there on my second day morning on Tuesday. I saw some of my students were there. And I also saw some instructors too, who were performers. And that morning, as I was observing people, watching people, they were not so friendly each other yet because that was their second day meeting each other. But they started to be more open as day goes by. And one of the reasons is this Buddhist monk who was leading this meditation, because he shared everything about himself. Some good things, some bad things, everything. And we were listening to his talking, and people started to share different things about their lives. And there were some happy topics, but also there were heavy and serious topics too. And we listened each other's stories. And this monk was giving some ideas to solve those problems or troubles they went through. And we became friends at the end of the week. And one thing I realized there was that every day we have individual every day. We have joy, happiness inside of us. But also we have darkness and sadness too. I think it's a natural thing. But it's hard to see because we don't share everything. And sometimes we hesitate sharing those things to others. And also sometimes we pretend. But as I was listening to their talking, because these guys are apparently look very happy people, but as I heard those stories, I thought everyone is basically just the same. We are just the same human being. We have happy times, difficult times in life. We go through different things in life. And while I was meditating there, I came up with another new part. Combined these 2 parts together from the week in North Carolina. And this song came about. And this is called Morning Tide Will Bring Another Day. 家を建てた悲しい思い出忘れるために海の見える街に僕も家を建てた悲しいあなたのそばにいるために生きてゆくのは辛いそれを言わないだけ僕もあなたと同じまた朝が来たねYou built us a house upon a hill. There is an ocean view from every room. All along you sit there and gaze, hoping that the memory fades. I also built a house upon a hill. There is a sound of water in the air. All the pain that you have endured washes out beyond the shore. Pain is but a part of every life. But these are the words I cannot bear to say. We are just drops of water in the sea. Morning tide will bring another day.「風が運ぶ歌を知らないあなたは僕を置いてゆく」「生きてゆくのは辛い」「それを言わないだけ」僕もあなたと同じまた朝が来たね僕もあなたと同じまた朝が来たねThank you. I hope you are having a good time. You might be wondering, you hear a lot of layers at the same time, so I want to explain a little bit. I have a tool called a loop pedal on the floor. which is connected to my vocal mic and guitar cable. So what I'm doing is a real-time live recording to create multiple layers. So it's not pre-recorded or it's not a karaoke, it's a real-time. Last 3 years during the pandemic time, I composed some new music, and I want to share one of them. And when the pandemic started in March 2020, right? Yeah, 3 years ago. And as you know, it affected to everybody's everyday life, and including performers like me, because I was traveling every week to different places a lot. And it suddenly shut down in the mid-March. And from that point in mid-March, I had to stay in my apartment in New York City with the 2 little kids, which was pretty tough. There were so many cases in my neighborhood, so we couldn't go out at all, almost 2 months. But musically speaking, in the beginning of that time, I just didn't know what to do because I thought I didn't have any inspiration because I was not traveling. But I received a lot of messages or emails from different people from different places where I performed in the past. Some encouraging messages, something like, write something new, I want to hear your new music. So I decided to be a little more productive during the time. This is the first piece that I wrote in April 2020, and this is called No Matter How Far. Which one?
That, what you were saying.
I was singing. There's no language. I was just singing.
Thank you. Thank you. Maybe it was Japanese.
Say I'm gonna play a couple more songs for you tonight. And if you like my music, I brought my latest album. There are only, I think, 6 or 5 left. This is my last day of the tour, in the silent tour. But it's all original music, and I recorded this album in northern Alabama. You might know this place. There's a beautiful river called Little River Canyon, and a river and waterfalls. And right near the canyon, there is a long-running recording studio called the Cook Sound Studios. And so last spring, I had some shows in Alabama and Georgia, but I stopped by this studio and I recorded this album there. And it's all original acoustic music, and it'd be great if you could check it out. I composed this piece in a small village back in Kyoto Prefecture, where my grandparents are from. And both of my grandparents, grandmother, grandfather, came from this tiny village. And my last name is Tsukamoto, and even in Japan it's not a common name, but in this particular village there are so many Tsukamotos in that kind of place. And I used to go there a lot when I was growing up as a kid, and I just have a great memory of this place. And even though it's so far away and it's a long time ago, but sometimes I still feel like I'm connected. And you may have similar places in you, the place you had been a long time ago when you were small, and you haven't been back. But sometimes you dream of, or memories come back. And several years ago, I had a chance coming back to this place with my dad. And I brought my guitar there, and I composed this piece there. And when I was in high school, I always brought my guitar, and I used to play guitar in this beautiful valley. And I did the same thing. And this is called takibi, T-A-K-I-B-I. Takibi is a Japanese word, which means bonfire, because making bonfire was kind of a tradition, especially in those rural villages back then. sing. I'm gonna do one more piece for you. And besides CDs, I have a mailing list. If you sign up your emails, I'm gonna send you monthly newsletters from different places I go. So you're gonna know when I'm coming back to Atlanta area. Also, as long as you can spell my name, I have some social medias too. Instagram, Facebook page. Actually, I have a flyer, so you can take the flyers too. About 20 minutes from New Haven, Connecticut, there's a town called Hamden. And there are two mountains there. One is a round mountain, and next to the round one, there's a longer one. And these two mountains are connected. And local people call it Sleeping Giant. Next to Sleeping Giant, there's a university, Quinnipiac University. And one of the professors there, his name is Luis. Luis is originally from Argentina, and he's been here for a long time in the US, and same as me, and we became friends because every time I play around New Haven, he comes to my show. And a couple of years ago, I was playing shows in New Hampshire and Vermont, and he knew that I was in the area, so he called me up and he said, do you have time to stop by on your way back home? So I decided to stop by Hamden where he lives. And me and him did trail walking through this mountain. And it was a cold winter day in December. But it was a beautiful experience for me. And after I got home, about a week later, I got a package from him, and when I opened the package, there were 4 thick books about Sleeping Giant. And he enclosed a letter saying that I am personally very attached to this place. And also this is an important place for the school, university too. So I want to ask you a favor. I want you to compose a piece about Sleeping Giant. But before you compose, you have to study about this place. It was very difficult to read. But I tried my best, and I learned that this place was originally a sacred place of native people living there back then. Their name is Hobomok people. So I named this piece as Hobomok. Say